Today on What I Wish I Knew at 30, we're diving into the extraordinary story of Elke Travers, a chef, educator, and ocean-inspired innovator whose 35-year culinary journey has spanned continents, cuisines, and careers. Elke's love affair with food started at just 15, a passion that took her from the kitchens of Europe to the Mediterranean, cooking aboard super yachts and working alongside legends like Jean-Paul Bruneteau, where she mastered the art of native Australian cuisine and seasonal produce. Now the commercial corporate development chef at Nestlé Professional, Elke helps shape the future of menu innovation, product development and kitchen efficiency across the food service industry. She's also the co-founder of Seaweedery, a sustainably focused initiative bringing the power of the ocean to the plate. At her core, Elke believes food isn't just fuel, it's connection, creativity, and love made visible. From teaching at Le Cordon Bleu, an Australian Catholic university, to pioneering sustainable culinary practices, her story is a masterclass in staying curious, grounded, and true to your passion. If you believe in food, that food can change the world, or you're ready to discover your own passion, hit subscribe and join us for this inspiring conversation with Elke Travers on What I Wish I Knew at 30. Elke, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for the great intro, Fran. It's been great hearing that, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Now, did I miss anything?
I think you've covered it all.
Right.
I definitely love food. It's been my life, and it is my passion. What more can I say?
No, you can't. It's a journey. Every day is different, and everything every day is new in the culinary world.
Yeah,
I love it too. So, Elke, imagine we're jumping in a time machine right now. You're 30 years old again. Where are
Yep.
you? What are you doing? And what's going through your mind at that stage of life?
Wow, back at 30, yeah. I remember just getting back from a working honeymoon, an 8-year working honeymoon from around Australia and overseas. We just moved from Victoria. We got asked back to launch a restaurant in a hotel group in the Cumberland Lawn Resort called Aqua Dining, and we'd bought our first home in Sydney that needed renovating. So I remember coming back to Sydney from over 8 years of being away and picking up an old job that I had as the corporate chef at Clayton Utes, which was a really great corporate job to have, private catering for 120 partners at a law firm, different menu every day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, cocktail parties. It was just amazing cooking with beautiful foods. And then renovating at the time and, first home with hubby. So, that's where I was at 30.
Exciting times. And wait, so you say at that point you'd been away for 8 years. So
8 years.
yeah. What, you forgot to come home? You
Yeah,
went out to get milk and
I know. We just said to everybody, we're on a working honeymoon. We'll see you in 6 weeks. Well, it was pretty much 8 years later we got back. So a big journey around Australia, which took 3.5 years. And then we came back and then went overseas for, the next 3.5 years more. So, and then down in Lawn for a year. By the time we came back to Sydney, it was about 8 years. So, we kept in contact with people, but we weren't expected to be away for so long. But that's just where the roads took us. Being in the industry, never unemployed, working around food. It was amazing.
no, definitely. Well, that is one of the beauties of being a chef. You can certainly never go hungry. And if you want work, I think it's always pretty not easy, but you can always find somewhere to fit in and slot into a
So true.
team wherever you are in
Definitely.
the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So at 30, Elke, did you feel that you had life figured out? Or were you just winging it?
Yeah, definitely winging it. I do believe I was pivoting 24/7. There was so much going on. And you just, I remember thinking I had all these ideas, all these plans, and trying to do them all at once, had them all going, just like juggling balls. And you just keep taking on more and more and more. I was loving life, loving the industry, loving where I was at. Yeah, it was an awesome stage of my life.
Amazing. So you say it was an awesome stage of your life. What was your biggest dream at that time?
I really wanted my own restaurant. I really wanted something of my own, just to make my family proud, myself proud, somewhere to express all my learnings. So I was chipping away at trying to create something myself. I did have as a sole trader bite size catering startup, like a catering company, a small one. So actually, it was at 30 just after I started the Bite Size by Elke, which was sort of putting all my skills into set from catering for elite people into food media, doing some food styling and all that sort of stuff. So had that up and coming and got my first kitchen and my first kitchen team. Yeah, that was exciting. It was all happening.
So you say your dream was to start a restaurant. Did that
Yeah,
happen?
no. The day of signing a lease on a restaurant, I was up against an old colleague I used to work for. And I went home that night and said, I'm not doing it without my hubby, like a partnership. Like it's something I wanted him. He was a chef too. So
Okay.
I went home and talked to him about it. He goes, look, I really don't want to do this. Like he had just cold feet. He really had enough of the industry. He didn't love it like I loved it.
Yeah.
And I really thought about it, thinking I don't want to do this solo because
Mm.
I've heard of so many stories of where people just split. And I just thought, no, this is not the right time, just let it go. So rather than sign up to a restaurant, I signed up to a kitchen and I had a catering company. So there was something that I could do on my own, where the restaurant, I wanted him to own the floor. He was so good with people. That would be his next 10 years of life. And he
Yeah.
didn't want to do it. So it was like, okay, great. I pivoted to catering. So that's something I could do. I could, rely on him every now and then, but just not 24/7. So he had his own dreams, he had his own missions, and he had his own life, and he was pivoting into the building game. So yeah,
And it
that's where
has
it
to
went.
be, I mean, a restaurant is heart and soul, isn't it?
That's
It's
yeah, and I'll
24/7.
get there one day. I'm not going to give up on that.
So
One
one
day.
day, look at what you've learnt now and,
Yeah,
you know, everything that you've learnt, I'm sure. So if you okay, let's talk about that a little bit. It's a bit off key, but, that doesn't matter. So what sort of restaurant if time, money were no object whatsoever.
it'd just be a long line bar, and I'd call it the shellery. It would just be doing bowls of beautiful shells. So if it's mussels, pippies, vongole, just beautiful
Beautiful.
ocean shells, a gorgeous bowl of goodness, just so simple. And a gorgeous glass of wine to go with it, of course,
Fantastic. Shall we go?
Yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
very Spanish.
Yeah, it's just something that I feel like the conversation would be happening to whoever's sitting at the bar at the time, and I think that is just the way to connect with people, cooking something seasonal, local, beautifully, and just enjoy it.
Amazing. That
Yeah.
sounds really beautiful, really beautiful. In fact, when you go across the channel from England to France and you go into Roscoff and places like that, a lot of the little eateries, which are just one great big table, you eat whatever's on the menu, and quite often it's shellfish. So
That's
the
perfect.
bouillabaisse and beautiful. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think it's really comfortable.
Yes, yeah, no, I love that. So, did life take you where you expected? I suppose other than, your dream at that point was to start a
Mm.
restaurant. Apart from, over to you.
Yeah, look, yes and no on that one. Like life did take me to like around the I knew being a chef I was gonna travel, and that was a mission. I was like, I really wanted to do that. So I did that. Like, traveled, learned my home roots. Like I wanted to see Australia first and really get to know what every state had to offer before I went abroad. Yeah, went abroad, worked over there as well and traveled and food scene. Didn't go absolutely everywhere, but a lot of places. So that sort of part did. And then today, I'd never thought I'd be in the manufacturing for Nestlé. I'd never see my life here. So I suppose the first part of my life, I sort of knew that was happening. And then the pathways just kept pivoting to different directions. So that was kind of a surprise, like where the road took you. And the opportunities that came at the time. I went into education and I was lucky enough to get to be a mum and all these things along the way where I just pivoted my career to suit that family life, which was brilliant. Yeah, I just loved it. So
I mean,
it's a yes and
that's a fantastic, sort of thing to highlight, I think, for our listeners, is that the food industry is by no means, you become a chef, you work in a restaurant. That is just one small part of
that's one small part. Yeah. When you open the whole like, box, it's like the world's your oyster. It's like there's so much you can do with that lens of food in the industry. And I feel like I've given it a really good hot go. But you're still learning, like, still now I'm learning, like, in R&D and all these things that come up. It's like, wow, it's just never dull moments. I love
No,
it.
that's right. So much stuff, and integrating now, AI into, manufacturing systems, and
Next level,
I mean,
yeah.
it's phenomenal the speed at which things are moving, and yet,
Yeah.
when you see that the trends are still comfort food and
Yeah.
or, certainly it's interesting, isn't it? It's a
Yeah,
really
the long stayers, right? The comfort food rules in my eyes.
I love it. We manufacture mac cheese, so we do mac cheese croquette. I think that's the epitome of comfort food.
Yeah.
Looking back now, what's something you were completely wrong about at 30?
Ah, geez. I think at 30, thinking I can do it all, like thinking that you can just keep going on no sleep.
Mhm.
Those nights, like, you just keep going, burning a candle at both ends. So I just think, yeah, that would be my biggest thing, I think. Yeah, you can't you gotta use other people's lenses. So in business, when you're trying to grow, thinking that no. Like there is other experts in those fields, which I was not aware of. Like, what's a marketer do? What are all these jobs out there outside the kitchen? Actually, what do you do? What is this? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So knowing what can make a company grow, I think, yeah. So yeah,
No,
can't
that's
do it all.
interesting, that's interesting. And in your role now, I mean, you said that education was a big part. You sort of went through education, and is that part of your role now within Nestlé?
Yeah, like training to train chefs and sometimes groups, yeah, you might be asked to train on certain things. So you do need to know how to train chefs and make it easy and understand how to roll it out into a kitchen over the country or something. So yeah, like it is part of my role. I have to be able to do it. And I'm thankful for my time at Le Cordon Bleu. Brilliant education there for chefs to learn and having the pleasure of doing the demonstrations and the practical lessons. Yeah, it was a real honor to work there actually.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it was. So what was the best part of working there?
I think it was just the enthusiasm from the staff that worked there
Mm,
and also the students that came through. So they were really keen to learn. Everyone's passionate about, what they're going to do with their new skill they're learning.
mm.
And they were so keen on practicing. So I think the classics of French food were amazing, and then sort of to innovate them to today, good foundations.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. The best foundations in the world, aren't they, from the French?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I feel so. I think you've got to have that foundation training to then be able to adapt it to today. It makes it like really soulful, knowing the history behind things. I really think
Yeah,
it helps you grow, and then also adapt it
yeah,
to a new lens as well.
yeah, because it's about the fundamentals. When you understand the fundamentals, or you
Yeah,
understand those things, then the skills you can play with them. When
but
you're
you
when
could
you're not
have yeah,
confident in the fundamentals, then
that's
that's
right.
where you stay, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're afraid to go out of that comfort zone and innovate.
you hit that on the head. It's like it gives you the tools to be able to fly with food, like free
Mm,
form it your way. Once you are confident with those fundamentals, you can take
yeah,
them anywhere. And it's a really good piece of advice to give a young chef. Learn the fundamentals and then you can free form it
yeah,
later on.
with confidence.
Yeah, I totally believe that too.
I know, I've got a beautiful old copy of Larousse Gastronomique, and I love it. I still,
Yes.
like sometimes I'll just sit there and just thumb through it and look at it and say, "What does that mean? And what does that and what about this and what
Yeah.
about" I love it.
Yeah.
It's a timeless, great big heavy book, but, yeah, amazing.
Yeah. No, that's
Okay, they
good.
say life is the best teacher, and sometimes life throws us curveballs.
Totally. Yeah.
So let's talk about the biggest curveballs that life threw you.
Okay, been a few, but I'd suppose, the most one that comes to mind. Okay, I did get sick in my 30s, so yeah, never think, I thought I could eat the right food, healthy, I'm fit, I exercise, do everything right, you think you're doing everything right, and then all of a sudden you get knocked down with this unknown, tumor or whatever it was. Anyway, it was like, heck, you just don't see yourself stopping, and it's like, hang on a minute, what do you mean?
Mm,
But yeah, my life got changed upside down. So it was like, I remember one ends that weekend, I got told, "That's it, you're in hospital tomorrow, major surgery, and let's
wow.
just take it from there." So, yeah, it was a bit of a fight, and I was very lucky, and I'm so thankful to be here today. So you just don't expect it ever to be happening to you. So I suppose, yeah, now I look at life totally different from that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all good now?
All perfect. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
all great. But, some things, yeah, just get you, and it's sort of like I was very thankful, very lucky, very fortunate, and I think that would be one of the biggest curveballs I've had in my early 30s. Yeah.
Would you say that that was, like, looking back on that now, would you say that that kind of formed who you are today?
Yeah, I really think it's a main part of, now I don't wanna swear, but you
You
let
can
the small
swear.
things, yeah, let the
This is
small
our
shit go.
podcast. This is our chat. We can say what we like.
Yeah, don't
Uh,
sweat about the things that don't count. So,
yeah.
you let those things go now, and, I really, pick your arguments and pick the ones that count and let those
Mm,
small things go. Seriously, it's just not worth it. Wow. Yeah, so I really now have a much more balanced life, and I think I try to put myself in someone else's shoes and don't worry about those little things that used to make you angry. Yeah,
yeah.
it puts things into perspective a bit, and then, yeah, make the most of every day. So I love starting the day when the sun's coming up, and I love to try to catch it as it's going down, and, if you can get to do that, you see the color in the morning and it's so beautiful, and then you see the
Yeah.
color in the evening and it's even better. So, yeah, my advice is make the most of every day.
Absolutely. And if you could go back and whisper advice to yourself in that moment,
I'd
what would you
probably say
say?
yeah, I'd probably say slow down and,
Yeah.
breathe. Reflect a little bit more and actually try to find what you learned out of some things that you do because your life's going so fast. You just keep pivoting to the next thing, like next job, next catering, next costing, next training session with the kitchen team. And, oh, bills are coming in. You're trying to keep it all going and hire staff. All this stuff you're trying to do in your running a business, and you just don't actually celebrate your little wins and the small achievements, and you don't give yourself enough credits, and you might miss those key opportunities that come up to go in a different direction. So if you can just breathe and try to reflect a
Right.
week by week even, I think it's a good tip for someone just to, yeah, stop.
I think so too. I think a lot of people keep doing what they're doing because they've always done it, as
Yeah.
opposed to actually really becoming intentional and really questioning why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Someone
You
to
know,
yeah.
asking that incredible question, for what purpose?
Yeah. Oh, so true.
So,
It's so true.
sort of looking at and really sort of diving into that, how did that challenge, obviously with your health, how did that change the way that you approach success today?
Well, for me, it was like, firstly, I wanted to get better, and then I wanted to get fit, and then I wanted to have a family. I'm like, I didn't like to be told, no, you can't do something. It's like, well, watch me do it. Like, the more you
Yeah,
tell me
it's
I'm not going
really
to do it, it's like, I'm going to do it. No matter what you're saying, I'm going to do it. So that was my fight to get better, get well, and have a family. Right. So I just got over each hurdle and then made it happen. And then I got my family, and it was like looking after my family, but I still want to be a chef. So how can I do that? So, so it's all those things. I think it does shape you, and you put those skills that you've got to pivot, adapt, and stay strong, and ask for help when you need it is the
yeah,
hardest thing I've found.
yeah,
Thinking that you can do things, but actually you might need a little bit of help to get there until you get stronger again. So those things, you know, we've got one at a time.
yeah. No, I do know. I'm a bowel cancer survivor.
Wow.
And yeah, and that stopped me in my tracks, and it was the I think the only thing that's ever stopped me in my tracks. And as you know, to reiterate exactly what you've said, it was definitely being told to slow down.
Yeah.
And suddenly everything that was important prior to that diagnosis suddenly fell away. And
Oh,
when you look at that, and I think now I look at a lot of decisions that I make and prioritize, well, what's the purpose of this? And is this really, am I really being intentional about this? Do I really need to do it? What do I still do far too much? I still do. That's the nature of the beast. But I think being able to prioritize and focus on the things that are truly important
yeah.
and not the drama hooks that we kind of get caught up in.
Yeah, that's so true. The drama hooks, I love that. I love that description because that's really true, and that can
Mm.
be so consuming. Yeah,
Oh,
to focus in on what's really meaningful and purpose and, like, yeah, that focus is key.
that's beautiful, and I love that you had your family, and I think it's worthy of saying, I mean, when I was diagnosed, I wasn't initially prepared just to accept the first diagnosis. I wasn't happy to accept that, sort of if I didn't have this major surgery, I'd probably have 3 to 4 months. It was for me, that was like, "Well, okay, that's statistically, but you don't know me." And
Yeah.
sounds to me as though you had that same reaction to
Yeah, I just wanted to like, "What do you mean?" I was just like, "No, no, let's like, no,
yeah,
I've got a lot of living to do yet." So,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
it's
No, well,
like,
I agree with that. Well, well done you, and
"Hey,
well
you
done
too."
me,
Yeah,
and we're still here to talk about it, so I love
yeah,
that. And
yeah,
I believe with all of these things as well, life-changing illness, it is also about how you approach it.
yeah. I think your mind can be really determined, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think, yeah, I just had a lot of living to do. So,
yeah. Well, well done. Congratulations
yeah,
on getting through that. That's fantastic. So, Elke, let's get to the heart of the episode. If you could give your 30-year-old self just 3 pieces of advice, what would they be?
geez. Okay, let me have a think about that one. 3 pieces of advice. One would be to, breathe.
Yeah,
And what else? I think, yeah, really focusing on what you love doing. I think if you can do what you love, and then, yeah, don't be so hard on yourself. I think, yeah, be a good human is number one. Like, I think I want to sleep well at night. So, those things, if you can get good sleep, don't feel guilty about how you spoke to somebody. Like, just be a good human and just be kind. Those things are gold.
I love that.
You can't teach people to be kind. I think it's in your nature. I really do.
Yeah, it's around awareness, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Some
think,
people
yeah.
just yeah,
They forget that we're all human at the end of the day. Some people are on, and I understand business can get aggressive and that, but at the end of the day, we are all people and people have families to go home to. They all have things going on. So I think the kinder you can be to somebody, you'd be saving a lot of people's lives in just being
yeah,
kind.
I think that's really, really that's right. And be kind, and also, if people aren't being kind, then just remember that you don't have to take that on and you don't have to react to it. It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a
Push it
that's
away. Just push that away.
oh, that's not relevant. That's their problem, not yours.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. Kind of moving on from that, obviously, I mean, that's you're in a corporate role, and quite often, not everybody in the corporate environment are kind.
They've
Things
got it.
can,
Yeah.
things can be difficult. But do you think that younger professionals today, entrepreneurs today, do you think they're struggling with the same things that we did, or do you think they're actually facing a completely different world now?
No, I think they are facing the same things, but the thing is that they're learning the lessons that we've learned. So the younger people, have a faster pace to work with
Mm.
because they've got the
Mm.
social media game. So it's that other platform that's going. So it's like the other juggle I was talking about. They're still living like learning the lessons we've learned, but
Mm.
they've also got that platform of digital games. So we've never had to have that. So I know COVID, we all adapted to it and it's not gone
Mm.
away since COVID. So it's about pivoting to that platform where you are doing what you do on that digital platform as well as what we do face to face and things. So I think it's just juggling, multitasking, but they're
Mm.
still got to learn the lessons. So the younger people just have to learn the lessons and they'll learn them pivoting with the digital game too.
Yeah, no, look, I think that's true. We didn't have, we went to a library, and I went to a library. I'm older than you, but going through uni and things like that, that was you had to book the books that you wanted in
Yeah,
time to be able to do an assignment, or to sort of get theses done in time. I mean, the world has changed from
totally.
just the sheer volume of information that is available.
Yeah,
But it does come down, doesn't it, to those fundamentals. And, I wonder, I mean, I'm not so much in the corporate environment now, but with communication in sort of the younger generation, do you find that communication is an issue, or is that something which is still the same as it was when we were younger?
Look, I think communication, I always never assume now.
Mm,
Like I can't assume that they know what I'm talking about because I'm working
no.
with so many different mindsets, so many different lenses that
Yeah.
I'm their food lens. So if I'm talking food, I've got to explain food. Like I can't
Mm,
assume they know because they actually have their expertise in if it's marketing or if it's, technology, or they all have different lenses. So now, yeah, I try to bring it back to clear, basic bullet point communication. I find that's for me the best way to learn.
yeah.
I'm very much a bullet point girl, and keep it short and simple. And I try not to overcomplicate things. So try to keep it. And if I don't know what they're talking about, I'll just say, look, explain simply. I'll just
Yeah.
ask and spell it out again because I didn't
Yeah.
get it. Because there's,
Well, and so, I mean, at the end of the day, the quality of life is determined by the quality of the questions that we ask.
yeah,
So
I just ask more questions. True.
exactly. Yeah, no, for sure. So what's one mindset shift that completely changed your approach to actual success?
I think, yeah, stepping with your positive foot forward, like finding the positive way to start the day for yourself. So making yourself feel the best of yourself. So if it's that get up before the sun and catch that color, a swim or a walk,
Mm,
whatever it is, make yourself feel the best you can feel in the morning
mm,
before you even get the first conversation going. So you feel like you're in front of the game already, like you feel good. It does make you feel good getting out in the national park or wherever you go running or walking. It is really nice to
yeah, that
start the game.
morning ritual is so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
It's
really.
important.
Yeah, so I think that's the best mindset shift you can do is something great in the morning and even to reflect that afternoon, that's gold. But if not, the end of the week, that after, whenever it is. But yeah, take that little bit of time for yourself is
Yeah.
success.
100%. Self-care is so important, and so many of us, I know when I worked in London in the corporate world, and if we left the office before 7:30, literally you had to put your jacket on a chair and disappear so that it was actually assumed that you were probably still in the building somewhere. Yeah, it was crazy. It really was. It was insane back in those days, but there you go. So,
Yeah.
Elke, what's the best advice you ever received, and who gave it to you?
Geez, I think I gotta say my grandma, because my grandma, I grew up with my
Mhm.
grandma. She was saying she used to always say this funny thing like, all work makes Jack a dull boy, which is
Yeah.
like saying that if you work too much, you're not gonna have any fun, you're gonna be boring, So I really thank her for that. I didn't really listen in the very early days, but like later on in my life, it was like, you know what, working is you really do have to find that balance. So
Yeah,
that's where I took it. So I'd say my grandma.
I love that. Well done, grandma. I'm a grandma now, and I hope I'm imparting some wise words to my 5-year-old granddaughter and my grandson. Yeah, it's an interesting
Yeah.
time. It's an interesting time,
Yeah,
but,
no, I love my nan.
I l yeah, I
Yeah,
love
great
it.
words of wisdom.
Yes, exactly. And I think looking back, I mean, there's so many words of wisdom from sort of our parents, grandparents. And my mum always used to say, "There's no such word as can't. It was killed by won't." And those kind of sayings, sort of now. I've done a lot of work in professional development. I ran a training company where we were training coaches, and a lot of these things sort of come up as being, "Oh, it's a new concept." It's actually not.
Yeah,
It's all the concepts from the learnings in the Bible. It's the concepts from, the learning and just what it is to be a decent person and to
yeah.
be respectful and accountable.
Mm,
And, that's an interesting space in a lot of it. But we've covered the deep stuff. Now let's have a bit of fun.
okay,
I'm going to hit you with some quick questions.
okay,
Let's just come out with the first thing that comes to mind.
okay,
Ready? Here we go. You ready?
okay.
Perfect. What's the worst business or life advice you ever got?
I think it was, I had a chef that told me, that, "Oh, you'll never get married." Yeah, chefs don't
Oh,
get married. Yeah, so that was the yeah, he's like, "You don't get married. You can't get married in the kitchen. You're just a chef now." So I was like, "Oh," that was that to me, like, not getting married. So I turned around and married a chef, and we're still married, like, 28 years later. So,
well done. That's brilliant.
yeah,
That was wrong then, wasn't it?
yeah.
So, if you could have lunch with any historical figure, Who would it be?
Well, it'd have to be either like a chef would be Thomas Keller because I love his rustic to refined approach, or if you're talking geography, it'd be David Attenborough. I really love that.
I'd love that. We've had
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna start a poll on people who people would want to have lunch with because David Attenborough is figuring a lot in that one. It's gonna be a big table of everyone that's on What I Wish I Knew at 30 and David Attenborough at the top. So I think I'd be there as well. That's
yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
What's a guilty pleasure you refuse to apologize for?
Look, no matter where I am, if I'm near the ocean, I've just got to jump in it. So I
Nice.
just
Love it.
love the ocean. If I'm there and I smell the salt water, I just want to have a quick swim, quick dip, or a
Lovely.
body bash on one of those waves. So
Brilliant. Do you swim every day?
I wish I could say yes to that, but no, a couple of times a week. Yeah,
Oh, nice. A couple of times a week is great. When I'm back in the UK, we're based down in Cornwall on a vineyard.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
wow.
stunning. We're literally, in Penzance, so
Oh,
near St. Michael's Mount. So we swim every day off the prom or in
dear.
the Har it's just it
Beautiful.
yes, I absolutely love it. I'm not looking forward I just got back last week. I swam the day we left, which, October in the UK is pretty cold, but the water's cold, and, I'm not a believer in wetsuits, so if you're
Yep.
in, you're in. But, of course, the girls, my sisters, will still be swimming when I get back,
Mhm.
and I'm going to have had a gap between although I live by the sea, I don't very often swim here in Melbourne, which is I don't know why, but I must sort that out.
Yep.
But when I get back in December, obviously, the expectation will be that I go in.
Oh,
I don't
it'd be
like
cold,
that.
but yeah, just do
But
it. Don't think it. Just get in.
will. I always do. I just take a deep breath and go, "Okay, this is good for me." So, Elke, if your 30-year-old self had a theme song, what would it be?
I'm gonna have to say "Unstoppable" by Psy. Yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
Brilliant. And the last question, what's one thing you absolutely sucked at in your 30s, but you've mastered now?
Well, do you know I couldn't swim at 30? Do you know I couldn't swim?
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't swim properly. Like, I could only do this front crawl thing. So
Yeah.
I've mastered swimming now. Yeah, I really love swimming. I could swim
Brilliant.
endlessly. Yeah,
I
hours.
love that. Fantastic. So, okay, that was incredible. I know so many listeners are going to resonate with your story. But before we wrap up, let's just do a quick recap. What's the single biggest takeaway that you would like people to remember from our conversation?
Okay. I think have a dream and have fun making it happen. Yeah, you've got to have a dream. And I believe you've got to have fun while you're doing what you do. So, yeah, have a dream, have fun doing it, make it happen.
So, when are we going to see the restaurant?
Yeah, look, it's these things.
I
If
know
anyone
that.
would love a celery, come and see me. Let's go. Yeah.
Well, there
And
you go. You
it should
never
be
know.
down at the new seafood markets. It'd be perfect. I just need one
Oh,
long
it
bar.
actually
Yeah.
would. Down in Sydney,
Yeah.
it really would be, wouldn't it?
Just beautiful shells. That's all you need. Lovely glass of something
Fantastic. Well, you need to
gorgeous.
go
Yeah.
and talk to some of the boys down there and see if there's someone there that would back it, would like to be
Sounds good.
involved. I know
Yeah,
it
it'd be
does.
awesome.
Sounds like fun. I love that. Thank you so much. And for everyone listening, here's my challenge to you. Take one thing from today's episode and apply it to your life this week. Maybe it's reaching out to someone who can mentor you. Maybe it's finally taking that leap you've been scared of. Whatever it is, take action. If this episode inspired you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have a question or a topic you want me to cover in a future episode, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in to What I Wish I Knew at 30. And remember, your best chapters are still always ahead. See you next time. Elke Travers, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank
It's
you
been
so
an
much, Fran.
absolute pleasure. I know we could talk. There'd be so much more that we have to talk about, and we'll do that in season 2. But thank you so much for joining me today and on What I Wish I Knew at 30. And it's goodbye from me.
Thank you so much. Bye now.
Thank you so much too. Bye.